Hi everyone, welcome to week 2 in the NFL picks. We're starting with Thursday Night Football, battle between two AFC East teams. The New York Jets travel to Foxborough, take on the New England Patriots. Patriots 13-point favorites. However, I'm going to take the Jets and take 13 points. You see the Patriots have Danny Amendola likely out. Zach Sudfeld out. They're starting tight end. Gronkowski is still expected to be out. And they're without Shane Vereen, who's one of the few 100-yard rushers in the first week of the season. I just don't see how, with these few weapons, Tom Brady can win the game and win by 2 touchdowns. So I'm going to take Geno Smith and the Jets to keep this one close, keep it within 10 points, and somehow manage to get the cover in this one after they surprised the Bucs in week 1 and won. We move into Sunday afternoon games. Chargers travel to Philadelphia. Both teams coming off Monday night games. The Eagles won in rather blowout fashion against the Redskins, while the Chargers squandered a second half lead to the Texans. I'm going to take the 7.5 points on the Chargers. I just think that this team is going to be able to slow down the Eagles offense. The big thing is draining the play clock, keeping Chip Kelly's high speed, high intensity offense off the field. I think you're going to see a big game out of Ryan Matthews, because they're going to be leading on the run game a lot to eat the clock and keep Vic on the field. And we have to wonder, do the Eagles really have a backup who can run this offense? Because Vic got hurt in that first game, a little bit of a groin pull, so you have to wonder, how is he going to be healthy enough to run this at full speed? Moving to the second 1 o'clock game, AFC North battle. Browns go to Baltimore, take on the champs. The Ravens, 7-point favorites. I'm going to take the Ravens, give the 7 points. I think the Ravens, yes, they got blown out by the Broncos, but that was just the second half that were horrible. The first half they were winning. They were a drop Dallas Clark pass and going up a touchdown into halftime. And then they're getting their banner raised on Sunday. I think this is going to be a big game. They want to show the fans what type of team they really are. I'm going to take the Ravens. I think they're going to blow out the Browns. We go to the next game, Titans at Texans. Both teams coming off wins. The Titans beat the Steelers, and they're getting 10 points in this game, and I'm going to take the points. I think the Titans are much improved. I think they got a very good front seven, and I really like what they were doing on offense despite Jake Locker struggling at times. I think that they can move the ball with the change. They got lots of weapons on offense. I just don't think the Texans defense is as good as it has been in years. I think the Texans defense has lost a lot of guys to free agency, so I think they're a lot weaker than they have been in the past. Move into the next game, Dolphins at Colts. Yes, the Dolphins blew out the Browns and forced 3 interceptions of Brandon Whedon. And yes, the Indianapolis Colts barely beat the Oakland Raiders, but I'm going to give the 3 points and take the Colts. I just don't think the Dolphins are as good as they showed last week against the Browns, and I think the Colts are better than they played against the Raiders. Moving to another 1 o'clock start, Carolina Panthers at Buffalo Bills. Both teams coming off losses by fewer than 5 points. The Bills are getting 3 points, and I'm going to take that. I think that this is a team that has more explosive players at just about every position. I think the defense is a bit better for the Bills. I think that the big question is on both teams is in the secondary. But I'm going to take the 3 points. I think this is going to be a very close game. And we're going to move to our next one. Both teams both division winners from last year coming off losses. The Redskins going to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Redskins getting 8 points. I say take the 8 points. I think RG3 got stronger as that game went on, getting more used to being on that surgically repaired knee. I don't think we're going to see Alfred Morris put the ball on the ground again. I think that the Packers defense is still a question mark. I think that we're going to see a big game out of the Redskins, and I think they're going to cover. Moving into the Cowboys and the Chiefs, both teams coming off Week 1 wins. Cowboys forced 6 turnovers against the Giants. I don't see that repeating against Alex Smith and the Andy Reid Chiefs. I'm going to give the 3 points on the Chiefs and take them to win. I just think that Jamal Charles is not going to put the ball on the ground like David Wilson did last weekend, and I expect them to have a big game. That defense can get to the passer, and I think it's going to be a long game for Tony Romo. Go to an NFC North battle. Minnesota Vikings plus 6.5 at the Bears. Take the points. The Adrian Peterson eats the Bears up all the time. I think it's going to be no different. I think that this game, I don't know if the Vikings win, but I think it's decided by field goal. We go to Final 1 o'clock game, the Rams travel east to Atlanta, take on the Falcons. I think the Rams could win this game outright. I do not like the Falcons this year, especially with their offensive line troubles. I think that Robert Quinn and Chris Long could have humongous games. Take the Rams +7. I think that offense is improving. And I think Darrell Richardson could have a big game on a less than stellar Falcons defense. Moving into the 4 o'clock games, it's the Saints and Bucks in the NFC South battle. Saints 3.5-point favorites. I'm taking the Saints, laying the points. The Bucks were horrible last week. Josh Freeman seems to be doing everything to lose his starting job, so take the Saints and trust Drew Brees to put up a big win. Moving into the team that was maybe the most impressive last week, the Detroit Lions. They go to Arizona, take on the Cardinals. Lions 1.5-point favorites. I'm giving the points. Take the Lions. I think that they are going to be explosive again. And they blew out the Vikings without getting Calvin Johnson involved. A lot of the damage was done through Reggie Buss. I expect them to go to 2-0. And possibly the matchup of the two worst teams in the NFL, the Raiders and the Jags. I think this game will be, unfortunately, less than competitive. I think the Raiders actually blow them out. I don't think the Jags have much. No Chad Henne starting over Blaine Gabbert, but really, there's just not enough weapons on that team to be successful. You have Maurice Jones-Drew is past his prime. Cecil Shorts on the outside really needs a target on the other side to take some of the pressure off of him. Mercedes Lewis has done nothing since his 10-touchdown season. I really like what I saw of the Raiders last week. I think that defense can be competitive. Lamar Houston is a great player on the D-line, and Terrell Pryor can create a lot with his legs, and I think he's just going to get better passing each and every week. Moving into the final 4 o'clock game, the Denver Broncos travel to New York to take on the Giants in the Manning Bowl. I'm going to take the Giants to cover this one. It's a 6-point line. I just don't see the Giants getting blown out after giving up 6 turnovers the week before. I think that Eli's going to want to prove something to brother Peyton. I think I think that David Wilson bounces back and has a big game and silences his doubters. So moving to the Sunday night game, 49ers Seahawks, battle of the two best teams in the NFC. I think that you have to take the Seahawks at home every single week. Yes, I know that San Francisco may be the better team and is going off a big win of the Packers, but Seattle is the hardest place to play in the NFL, and that defense looked excellent last week. I think that the 49ers do not have enough options outside of Bolden and Vernon Davis catching the football, and I think when you look at it, Richard Sherman is going to eliminate Bolden from the game matchup. So take the Seattle Seahawks, give the 3 points. Moving to Monday Night Football, battle of the NFC North, Steelers and Bengals. Bengals favored by 7. I think the Steelers are really, really bad this year. They lost their center. That's going to be a big drop-off. Yes, Pouncey is not an elite center. His brother is better down in Miami, but the bigger thing is his backup's coming in, and he has to face the best defensive tackle in football in Geno Atkins. That's going to be a long day. Take the Bengals, lay the 7 points, and those are my picks for Week 2 in the NFL.